Hey guys, welcome back. It's Nod Lammers Invoked 101, and no face cam for this one. We're just doing it classic guerrilla style deck profile for this. And this is a deck that I was really excited, and I hate that I put it off so long. And I know that a different deck won the poll. I know that B Troopers won their poll, and I'm trying to get Fur Hires together, but I recently redid all my binders and set aside a ton of cards. So finding my last beat is what's holding that one back, but I wanted to get something out for you guys, so doing this one. This deck is super cool. I really like this. I've been playtesting it a lot more, and it's okay. The main win condition isn't super great anymore, but I do enjoy playing this deck a lot. There's some cool stuff in here that I'm excited to show you guys, and without further ado, I'm gonna set the spells and traps and extra deck off to the side. We're gonna get right into the main deck monsters. Starting us off, we have 3 of the best girl in Yu-Gi-Oh! High Priestess of Prophecy. You can reveal any 3 spellbook cards in your hand to special summon her from the hand. Super amazing. And then she has the bonus effect: once per turn, banish a spellbook spell from your hand or grave, then target 1 card on the field and destroy that target. Fantastic. You can actually use the hand to activate her effect, especially with cards like Necro Valley running around right now. This card is fantastic. Next up, we have 3 of the Stratos of the deck. Spellbook Magician of Prophecies. Yes, check my first ed redos. This is amazing. On normal or flip face up, add a spellbook spell card from deck to hand. Fantastic for getting secrets and your main draws and starts going. The last prophecy monster I play is 1 Prophecy Destroyer, which we'll talk about this guy a little bit more when we get into the non-prophecy monsters, which we play a few of. But the reason we play 1 of him is because if this card's in your graveyard, you can banish 3 spellbook cards from your graveyard, special summon as cost, by the way, special summon this card from the grave. And speaking of stats, 25-12, 500, 400, and 25-21. So Summon Skull stats, Dark Magician stats, Little Baby Boy stats. So for the non-prophecy monsters, we are playing 3 Jowgen the Spiritualist. Now this used to be our main win condition of the deck. It says you randomly discard a card from your hand to the graveyard to destroy all special summon monsters on the field, and then as long as he is face up on the field, no monsters can be special summoned. So really cool card. 213, so really small. The main reason this isn't as great as it used to be back when like the last time I profiled this deck and played this deck at like a casual event was, the reason this card isn't nearly as good is because Forbidden Droplets and Imperm and well, I guess Mind Control and various other cards are in the game, mainly stuff like Lightning Storm and just other things along that nature that just wipe this card off the board. It's a lot more prevalent than it used to be. The last card we play is 3 Magician Souls. This card is fantastic in this deck. Being able to dump Prophecy Destroyer from the deck to special summon this, Prophecy Destroyer banish 3, summon itself, and then link into Crowley. This card is amazing purely for that point without using your normal summon, so you can save it for stuff like Jowgen or Magician of Prophecy. Fantastic monster lineup. I will say this is a more casual deck, so there are no hand traps in here. There is a card that I highly recommend cutting if you want to play some hand traps and other things, and I'll talk about those as I get to them. But before I do get into the spells and traps, because there are quite a few, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Tell me what you want to see next. Tell me what deck you're playing currently. Starting us off, I'm going to start with the one of spellbooks because, of course, the most important one is Spellbook of Judgment. There's no way we can talk about the Spellbook deck without talking about how insane it is that Spellbook of Judgment is back and what this card does and why it's so important to the strategy. So it says during the end phase of the turn, first of all, it's a quick play spell, but it says during the end phase of the turn this card was activated, add spellbook spell cards from your deck to your hand except Judgment up to the number of spell cards activated after this card's resolution. Then you can special summon from your deck 1 spellcaster type monster whose level is less than or equal to the number of cards added to your hand by this effect. You can only activate 1 spellbook Judgment per turn. So you do have to add at least 3 spellbook spells with different names. Well, not with different names, because you can add any spellbook spells, which is insane. You can just add multiples. But you have to add at least 3 to summon Jowgen, and that's the main reason that this is so insane, is because that's how the deck used to work, is you'd add 3 summon Jowgen. So this is just as insane as it was back then. Next up, we have Spellbook of Wisdom. This card is pretty neat, and it does sort of help the current format. So what this says is, it says target a face-up spellcaster on the field, then activate one of these effects. It is unaffected by other spell effects this turn. It's unaffected by trap effects this turn. And notice it says one spellcaster on the field, not that you control. So, I mean, doesn't really come up, but could. Last one of we play is Spellbook of Power. This grants any face-up spellcaster monster, any one face-up spellcaster monster that you target until the end phase, 1,000 attack, and until the end phase, each time it destroys an opponent's monster by battle, you get to search one Spellbook spell card from your deck to your hand. So really cool. I believe there actually is like a specific Spellbook monster that this does, not Spellbook, Prophecy monster that this does work with, where they get extra attacks and things, but realistically, you're only using it to like boost up Jowgen or to boost up Crowley to swing over something. Sometimes even High Priestess or Destroyer, making them 35, which is basically able to run over anything. 3 ofs, of course, Spellbook of Secrets. This card is your Rhoda of the deck. It's insane. Searches any other Spellbook spell card. Adds any Spellbook card, so it even searches Blue Boy from deck to hand. You can only activate 1 per turn, though. Another hard once per turn is on Spellbook of Knowledge. Spellbook of Knowledge says, send to the graveyard either one spellcaster you control or one other Spellbook card from your hand or face-up field, except Knowledge, to the grave, and if you do, draw 2 cards. This is really cool because it outs your own Jowgen. Like, if you need Jowgen off the board to go, like, Destroyer and Souls, you can use this and then send Jowgen, draw 2, and then start comboing, which is really, really nice. Then the last 3 of that we're playing is the main defensive card we have, which is 3 Spellbook of Fate. Spellbook of Fate says if you control a spellcaster monster, you can banish up to 3 Spellbook spells from your graveyard and apply this card's effect depending on the number of spells banished for this card's activation. You will only activate 1 per turn. If you banish 1, you can return a set spell or trap on the field of the hand. That does come up. I used it a couple times in games when I had High Priestess, so I pop a card, bounce a card. Other thing, change 1 monster on the field to face up or to face down defense or face up attack. Good for outing Baguska. And 3, banish 3, banish 1 card your opponent controls. Non-targeting banish is insane. Beautiful card. Love this thing. Next up for our 2 ofs, 2 Spellbook of Eternity. This says target one of your banished Spellbook spell cards except Spellbook of Eternity. Add that card to your hand. Only activate 1 per turn. Then we have probably one of the most useful Spellbook spell cards. 2 Spellbook of the Master. This card is really useful because it says if you control a spellcaster monster, you can reveal 1 other Spellbook spell card in your hand to target a Spellbook normal spell in your graveyard except Master. This card's effect becomes that target's effect. You can only activate 1 Spellbook of the Master per turn. And the reason this is the whole reason that Knowledge isn't cost to send. It's because its effect to send because Master makes you discard it. It's like, which is unfortunate, but yeah, Spellbook of the Master, really, really good card, really good for duplicating stuff like Spellbook of Power to buff your thing, draw and search 2, Spellbook of Knowledge to draw extra cards, Eternity to add more things, and of course Secrets to search another card. Very, very useful. Then we have 2 of the field spell, 2 Spellbook Grand Tower. This card is amazing. Honestly, Spellbook Grand Tower is fantastic. It says once per turn during standby phase, if you have a spellcaster monster on field or in your grave, you can place a Spellbook spell card from your grave on the bottom of your deck, except Tower, then draw a card. That is amazing. Just being able to draw 1 to draw 2 cards in the standby like every turn is incredible. When this card in your possession is destroyed by opponent's card and sent to the graveyard, you can special summon 1 spellcaster monster from your hand or deck whose level is less than or equal to number of Spellbook spell cards in your graveyard. Again, another really, really useful effect. The last Spellbook card I play is 3 Spellbook Library of the Crescent, whose cost is if you have no Spellbook cards in your graveyard. You can discard this or send it off of like Magician Souls and then copy it with Spellbook of the Master, ignoring the part where it says if you have none in your graveyard. But also because of all the banishing that we do off of Fate and Destroyer, this card does actually see resolution on its own, which is pretty cool. It says reveal 3 with different names from your hand. Your opponent randomly adds one of them. Reveal 3 different spellbooks from your deck. Your opponent randomly adds one of them to your hand and shuffle the rest back in the deck. You can only activate 1 Library of the Crescent per turn. You cannot activate any spell cards. You activate this card except for Spellbook spell cards. So yeah, kind of sucks, but it's definitely really good if you copy it with Master. that's it for the spellbook spells. So pretty hefty dose. But these are the ones, and these are the ratios. I might bump Eternity up to 3, and I might bump Wisdom up to 2, as Wisdom actually is fairly okay. But yeah, Judgment coming back is huge. Next up is a card I would cut if I had the choice. That's 3 Pot of Extravagance. I thought this would come up more. But by the fact that we're playing Magician's Souls and Knowledge and just a lot of stuff that makes it feel like we're able to draw a lot, I don't think you really need this. There's just a lot of ways that you can dig through your deck and search cards, and I don't think you need Extravagance. So if you want to cut this, you can. Then the last card, Moon Mirror Shield. This is for Jowgen to start swinging over stuff. Honestly, this could also be another cut card. Like, you could cut all 4 of these. And you could also cut the Solemn Judgment and 2 Solemn Strikes. These come up, I think, more than these other 4 cards. But realistically, you could just play like other back row or more hand traps, or back row hate, honestly, like Lightning Storms, Dark Ruler, I think would be okay in this deck, so that way you could break boards with Priestess. But yeah, that's it for the main deck. And I know I'm playing Extravagance, so it's going to seem really weird when I tell you I'm only playing 2 extra deck cards. When I play this deck, I literally grab a chunk of another extra deck, remove 2 cards from it, and then call it a day. Because these are the only 2 monsters I ever go into. So Crowley the First Prophecyr is a fantastic Link 2. He needs 2 spellcasters. He has 1000 attack, and it says if this card is Link summoned, you can reveal 3 spellbook cards with different names from your deck. Notice instead of spells, it's cards. So it's basically Crescent, except you can search Blue Boy with it. And then it says your opponent randomly picks one for you to add to your hand. Shuffle the rest in the deck. You can only use this effect of Crowley once per turn. Each turn, 1 level 5 or higher spellcaster you normal summon can be summoned without tributing. So basically, if you open Priestess plus Souls, you can make this normal summon Priestess, which is fantastic. Granted, you probably won't be doing it. You'll probably be normal summoning Blue Boy, but it is a nice option to have where you can just like normal summon the Priestess as well instead of having to special summon her. But yeah, definitely a really cool card. I could also see this being used in some other decks where maybe they have some special summoning and want to save their normal summon for like some big monster, potentially something like Demok if you're playing that. But yeah, you only need this guy. And with that is it for the Spellbook Prophecy deck profile. I really like Spellbooks. I think Spellbooks are a fantastic little deck. I know it's not good anymore. I know that they are definitely held back. It'd be really cool if we could actually get some new prophecy stuff. And I know that I know that they're based on the tarot cards, and the fact that I think all of the tarot cards, or at least major arcana, have been made into a card in this deck, unlike the Arcana Force. So, because there's Judgment, there's High Priestess, there's Hierophant, Empress, Emperor, so there's a lot of stuff. I think if they really wanted to, they could turn they could turn wands and discs and wands, discs, and I forget the other 2 off the top of my head, and I'm sorry, pentacles, and whatever the last one is. And I'm sorry that I can't remember all 4 of them off the top of my head right now, because they got swords. It's swords. So wands, discs, swords, and pentacles. They could turn those into prophecy monsters, which I think would be neat. I think Prophecy Destroyer is supposed to be swords, and maybe I'll look into that more, but it'd be really cool to see 4 new cards for this deck. 2 monsters, 2 spells and traps, and then maybe a new extra deck monster. Maybe something that could actually put our Xyz monsters on the board. But yeah, with that said, thank you guys for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video.